Hello and welcome back to something a little bit different. You join me behind the wheel of an Alfa Romeo 156 driving around Curitiba, Brazil. It's the fifth event of the 2006 World Touring Car Championship. No, I've not forgotten to post the previous 4 rounds. I've been driving this one offline, but today you're going to join me for the fastest lap of my qualifying and the first of the 2 races as we go for a bit of a drive and a chat to talk about the future of this channel. But first, our flying lap of Curitiba. We slam on the brakes before the 100 board and take turn 1 in 3rd gear, running out over the curb of turn 2. This right-hander is apparently both turns 3 and 4, which is just one turn, guys. Calm me down with that stuff. Now, there's multiple versions of Curitiba in this game, the game being Race 07 by SimBin Studios. This 2006 version doesn't have braking boards on the approach to turn 5, just sticks. You'll have seen them on the left-hand side. That means it can become slightly easy to miss your braking point in the heat of the moment. More on that later. Now, as we approach turns 7 and 8 for the first time, they're slightly reminiscent of turns 9 and 10 in Bahrain, a gentle left-hander followed by a much tighter one. And because this is front-wheel drive, we're fighting understeer the whole time. For turns 10 and 11, I feel like I sacrifice a lot more entry speed than the AI do, but it means I can get a better run out, much quicker exit speed. And as we reach the end of Sector 2, which you'll see in the top right corner, we're a 10th up on my previous best, and Sector 3 is just this one corner, turn 12. Taking it in 4th gear, regulating the throttle before I feel comfortable enough to floor it, and we head towards the line. The improvement is about to be 4 tenths quicker than my previous best, but it's so close at the top, it shifts me from 10th to provisional pole. Safe to say I was quite enjoying the circuit. And as you can see here at the end of qualifying where I was losing and gaining the time, a 10th down in Sector 1, up by 4 tenths in Sector 2, but less than a 10th faster overall to the middle sector, where I'm gaining the time. Now, as you run down the full grid, quite a few names you'll probably recognise from the world of British touring cars, IndyCar and Formula 1. I'm going to go wheel to wheel with quite a few of them in the upcoming race. I was introduced to Race 07 earlier in the year by Dominic Kronsky, who you may remember from some ORSL events. I've had a lot of fun with it, especially doing this 2006 season. Now, starts haven't been my strong point in this game, as the lights come on, the revs go up, and off we go in Brazil. And this start is actually slightly worse than the others because I shift up from 1st gear way too early and we sink back to 7th. Fortunately, I'm able to fend off the Seat on the outside and we are 6th into turn 1. The AI are set to 100. When they spread out, they're quite competitive, but when they're in close quarters, especially in the first couple of laps of the race, they can be a bit sheepish of each other, so it gives us a few opportunities to maybe make back these places a bit quicker. We're already back past the Alfa Romeo and we're looking to get closer to the Chevrolet up ahead as we approach turn 5. The sticks on the left, which I fall foul of, over ambitious in the braking zone and have to take big evasive action. And up the inside, Gianni Morbidelli, a name we should all recognise, demoting us back down to 6th. Up to turns 7 and 8 for the first time, and the concertina effect coupled with their sheepishness means we end up giving Morbidelli a bit of a firm whack. But it's touring cars, so that's okay, right? Now as we try and settle into a rhythm, we've got 9 laps to try and recover the places we've lost. Let's get into what I really want to talk about. First of all, let me apologise for the title of this video. It's slightly clickbaity and a bit overdramatic, but it's not inaccurate, as this is an ending. This is the ending of the very first series that appeared on this channel, what I started this channel with. Sim Racing Superstar is coming to an end. The goal of the series, and indeed this channel, was to do YouTube about a passion of mine. I'd known for ages I wanted to do a YouTube channel. For a while I thought it was going to be about 35mm film photography, which is something else I really enjoy, but I was getting back into racing naturally at the time, and it just felt like the right thing to do, and I'd always wanted to go into sim racing a bit more rather than just casual playing. I wanted to race with a wheel and pedals, I wanted to turn off the assist, I wanted to get into it properly. Part of that being fueled by the question that most racing fans I probably ask themselves, if they've never had a chance to go racing, it's, oh, could I have been a racing driver? And the plan for me was to kind of do it like almost a Top Gear style tongue-in-cheek challenge of, oh, how hard could it be? And if I'm bad at it, well fine, because then it's a bit of comedy, it's Top Gear-esque because I'm failing at something and everyone gets to, have a bit of a laugh at my expense. But then if I happen to do well, which obviously was always a hope in the back of my mind, however unrealistic that was, then I do well. And obviously, it's worth saying that how hard can it be? Let's answer that question now. Very hard. I am not a sim racing superstar. I have failed, but that is a surprise to no one, including me. However, the problem was getting into sim racing for the first time while starting a YouTube channel was just overly ambitious. And I thought because I'd done videos for most of my life as part of my day job or as a hobby before, combining these things together wouldn't be that big of a deal, but it absolutely was. And putting the videos together, editing them, racing frequently enough, it was just too much. And that reared its head again when I did the WMSC series this year, because I wanted to spend a lot of time practicing for the races so I wasn't abysmal, but then it took me ages to then edit all those things together, much longer than my other videos. I enjoyed actually participating in it, but all the work towards it got in the way, as into turn 5, once again ambitious in the braking zone. I blame those lack of braking boards. Who put sticks there? Anyway, it's gone from bad to worse. We are down in 11th and we're partway through lap 3, so I've now got less time to make up even more places. Again, let me reiterate, not a sim racing superstar. As I was saying before I rudely interrupted myself with bad driving, like I said, as much as I enjoyed participating competitively, it was just too much of a time sink, and it was getting in the way of me, first of all, doing this channel properly, because I've started all these series, and I think I started way too many, and it's taking ages for me to do them, and it just became too much, and trying to balance this with life, and then also the main point of I wasn't really getting into sim racing properly. I was just focusing all my time on either competitive racing or doing videos for the channel. Actually, I wanted to just be able to enjoy going for a race. Like, the thing that really struck me is Kyle Army, last year, my first ever competitive sim race. Before that, I'd not just played AMS casually. I was learning it as I was competing as Andy Prio, the real-life 2006 World Touring Car Champion, taking evasive manoeuvres, and we were up the inside. Another overtaking move into turn 5. Oh god. But I brake a lot more conservatively, and we dispatch the world champion. So yeah, essentially I was, rather than having a good base of just having played these games and gotten used to what it was like to go sim racing and what was different from, just playing casually on a controller, I was learning this while competing, and it's just backwards. And it meant that rather experiencing these games and just enjoying them, I was putting an immense amount of pressure on myself, either to do well competitively or to then put it in a video. And actually, I just needed to learn and get lost in it, because I've really enjoyed playing these games, but I've definitely dampened the amount of enjoyment I could have had of them by attaching it to something else, either YouTube or being competitive, or even worse, being competitive publicly. Like, it's bad enough trying to compete, but then being like, oh well, I'm going to show everyone how much of an idiot I was. So it's made me think, you know what, I need to step away from competitive racing and just go and experience these games. Share some of these things online, like this now, like the odd video here and there, but mainly go and enjoy them. And I'm doing that now. I've been playing the Brazilian F3 Championship in Automobilista, I've been doing this series in Race 07, been trying Brazilian stock cars in Automobilista 2, finally been getting into Assetto Corsa, which, with the content manager and a few mods, is just wonderful. Like, it's not a perfect experience, some of the menus can be a bit clunky even with the content manager, and sometimes the racing is, but when you get a beautiful track and car combination, it's so immersive and so much fun. So what does this mean for the YouTube channel? Well, if you are one of the people that does actually care about this channel, which, again, it still baffles me that you exist, but thank you so very much, there's nothing to worry about. It actually is a good thing. It means I can be a bit more productive on the series that I think people want to see more of, and the ones that I still really love doing, that, you know, have become such a core part of this channel. The Justice 4 playthroughs of the old F1 games from the PS1 era, playing on Indy 500, the PS1 game, the Le Mans games from PS1 and the PS2 era, carrying on the series, playing through Gran Turismo 3, carrying on through the NASCAR Racing 2003 playthrough as I go wide into Turn 1 and over the grass of Turn 2. Track limits are monitored in this game, but they've not called me for it, so clearly he noted it was a mistake. But still, reeling in the next cars up ahead. Now don't get me wrong, this doesn't mean I'm suddenly about to grind out those series really quickly and there's going to be like 2 videos a week. It's probably going to stay at 1 for the most part, 1 video a week. 2 sometimes if I am able to fit it in, or if it's like 1 video, like a long play where there's not as much to edit. But if I miss it, I'm also going to be less hard on myself. I really put myself into grinding YouTube this year, just because I'm spurred on by just reading all the stats. And actually, I realise that the audience I've got is really understanding. They know that I do this as a hobby and I'm a bit slow, and they also, I think, watch because I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and if I start to grind it and push it, I'll stop enjoying it and it'll stop being fun. And the whole point of this was supposed to be fun. So I'm going to just keep going at a more manageable pace this next year, but with less things on my plate, I'm hopefully going to be very effective at doing that with the series that the people want to see. I also want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that watches. I really do appreciate it. For me, it is about the type of engagement and the quality of engagement I get with the people who watch my content, rather than the quantity. So honestly, if it stayed at this amount for the lifetime of the channel, I would be very happy, because I feel like it's a group of people who genuinely have the same interests and passions that I do. So it means a lot as we go door banging with Rob Sharp to just ensure we're in a proper touring car race now. And we'll look to the inside of Turn 7, maybe slide up the inside of Turn 8. Oh! Task failed successfully. Like I said, it's touring cars. We'll let it slide. So yes, thank you for all your support. More videos coming from all those other series in the new year, and every now and again, maybe a random race from a sim as I go properly exploring. But for now, we've got just over 2 laps to go, and there's still a shot at second place. You can see on the track map the leader has just started to drop this group of cars, but these guys are fighting each other. And like I say, when they're fighting they get a bit tentative. We get the run out of the final corner, and already straight past Ricard Rydell into 5th, and Deja Vu were following Gianni Morbidelli in the Alfa Romeo. Not too heavy on the brakes. In fact, I feel like this game has been teaching me how to trail brake better. A bit more control through 1, over the curb of 2, through 3 and 4. Just try and get the throttle down as early as possible. See if we can get closer when Morbidelli goes for half a look but then backs out of it, and that gives us the opportunity. And now we're going side by side with Rob Huff in the Chevrolet. Again into Turn 5. And I've learned my lesson. He's still in my blind spot. Wait for him in the mirrors. And we're through. The car up ahead is a BMW. It is being driven by Alex Zanardi. That is the man we are trying to hunt down to regain second. Lap and a half to do it. Like I say, I was introduced to Race 07 earlier in the year by Dominic Kronsky. I'm ashamed to say, before this year I didn't even know it existed. And now, I've got to say, I'm a big fan. I'm looking forward to going through all of the possible World Touring Car Championship seasons, and also it's got the Swedish Touring Car Championship, which I've done a couple of individual races on. Some of the tracks are immense fun. Never heard of any of them. One of them, from Denmark, I can't remember the name and I won't try and pronounce it, is like a go-kart track, but flying hatchbacks around it. It's so much fun, so we might visit there in the future. Start the final lap, the gap just over a second to Zanardi. We found though before, this middle sector is where we seem to gain a lot of time. Can we reel Zanardi in? We've got a really good run out of turns 3 and 4. Zanardi almost a bit wide there, having to slow down. We approach turn 5. Again, it's in the back of my mind to not botch the braking point. But this time, really nicely done. And again, Zanardi seems to be struggling, and the gap closed right down. We're on his tail through the end of Sector 1 towards turns 7 and 8. Can we look to the inside here? Zanardi on the brakes, and he just fades to the inside. Maybe we can go all the way around the outside. It's a bit too far to travel. We're running out of opportunities. Toward turns 10 and 11. Like I said, I feel like I go for exit speed over entry speed, and the gap increases on entry, but my foot is already down. I'm gunning it towards the inside of turn 11. Is there going to be the space? There is, and we are going to go side by side into the final corner. Can I be braver on the brakes? I glide it past Zanardi, power down, in 4th gear, and we've done it. Yes, starting on pole and finishing 2nd, not incredible, but to recover from 11th, I'm very happy with that. That was a lot of fun. And with that, I thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed Sim Racing Superstar from its slightly awkward, shonky and overcomplicated beginnings to where actually now I'm not a superstar, but for the first time I really am enjoying sim racing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again very soon.